Chinese foreign direct investment in Europe. But how best to represent Chinese money abroad without resorting to cliché? Chinatown, really? We can do better than that. Now this is more like it. Nothing says Chinese money abroad more eloquently than a giant distribution centre on the edge of a British city. This is part of Airport City being built on the edge of Manchester with the aid of Chinese money. The investment made by China may be less visible, but it is growing and is becoming strategically significant in the global economy.
There's been a huge increase in foreign direct investment from China into Europe. Last year it was up about 90%. That's reached nearly 46 billion in Europe.
The Chinese money flowing into Europe is growing and growing fast. And while Britain and Germany are at the forefront as recipients of that money, we Irish are no slouches ourselves. We get the 5th largest slice of the Chinese FDI pie.
Private sector investors in China now represent over 3/4 of the total investment into Europe. It reflects a shift over the last year or two away from investment by the big state-owned enterprises towards investment by private sector companies in China. Most obviously, we've had the investment in nuclear from China, but also in distribution centres in Manchester and in other utility sectors, and that will continue.
And what's the future? Will we become more aware of Chinese investment in the real economy, or will it remain tucked away in warehouses on the edge of town?
China's model of investment overseas has shifted a lot over the last 5 years, especially after Donald Trump's election. I think the focus will actually gradually move from the United States to Europe, especially to the UK, because China sees UK and finds strategic assets that China does not yet have and wants to acquire, such as intellectual property, such as advanced manufacturing techniques, such as a way of conducting business. So those will be the things that China will have great interest to invest in the UK for.
And then of course there's the Chinese investment in football clubs and football players, or the giant waste of money, depending on your point of view.
China is more broadly integrated now into the global economy, and that's why we're seeing investment, particularly in Europe and in the US, into world-class businesses. And of course that most potent symbol of integration into the global economy, English Football League clubs.
Take the example of Northern Powerhouse. In the 4th quarter of 2015 alone, there's over £2.3 billion of investment from China, and much of that, 80% of that, actually has gone to Manchester. And this has been spent on mostly infrastructure, such as the construction of a new airport project.
Right, that just about wraps up our whistle-stop tour of Chinese investment in Europe. And we didn't even have to resort to any lazy stereotypes. Now, that's what I call a great wall.